It's an Old Ford traditional rivalry here in Winston-Salem and Raleigh, getting set for the final game of the regular season. Wake Forest, they've won 2 straight on the road, looking to make magic here in Raleigh. Number 12 NC State, big seeding implications as we wrap up the regular season. These traditional rivals have a ton on the line in the ACC. For NC State, it's pretty simple. You get a win, and you clinch that number 2 spot, jumping ahead of Syracuse. Pitt has just lost today, so for Wake, it's pretty simple. Get ready for the conference tournament and that opening round matchup down in Greensboro. We welcome you to Reynolds Coliseum with the longtime coach, Derek Jordan. I'm Evan Budrovich. Wake Forest searched for their first 3-game road win trip since Carly Rae Jepsen was popping Call Me Maybe. NC State, they want to earn that number 2 seed today and go ahead of their preseason expectations. Derek, what do these teams need to accomplish today?
Well, for NC State, it's about not letting up. It's about upping the intensity, especially defensively, so they can earn that number 2 seed. On the other hand, for Wake Forest, they've got some momentum from the last 2 road games. They've got to try and build on that momentum and build some confidence going into Greensboro.
Sanaya Rivers was fantastic on Thursday. 22 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. How did Sanaya take over this basketball game?
Well, really, it's about her leadership. She really just sort of took over and led the pack. You see how well she drives. And then in the overtime, when they were down actually late in regulation, Sanaya hit a huge 3 right here to tie it. Got another assist to River Baldwin. And then in the overtime, she got the big steal and the 3 free throws to clinch it. So it's been her leadership. On the other hand, for Wake Forest, the Raleigh native Elise Williams, she has really been the all-everything for the Deacs. Leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, even leading the team in made 3-pointers. Today, she's going to have to hit those 3s, also penetrate deep, and try and get a score and facilitate for her teammates. She's going to have a monster game if the Deacs are going to pull off the upset this afternoon.
It's been 7 years since Wake's upset NC State. And the number 12 Wolfpack, led by Wes Moore, whose team was picked 8th in the preseason. They have a chance at the number 2 seed today. And early on, a loose scrum for the basketball. Wake Forest will start with it. Back-to-back road wins in the ACC. First time since 2012 for the Demon Deacons, who began the year 0-14 in the conference, but playing good basketball right now under Coach Megan Jebbia.
You see NC State starting off in the man-to-man, and Wake Forest is going to run their motion offense. A lot of 5-out, a lot of Princeton principles to try and get some backdoor cuts and hard cuts to the glass. Under
second-year coach Megan Jebbia, 60 points a game for the Deacons. So Alex Scruggs airballs a 3. It's senior day here at NC State, honoring River Baldwin, Madison Hayes, and Mimi Collins, all part of the starting 5, including Baldwin, fresh off a double-double on Thursday. Airballs her first shot, and that goes out of bounds. That'll actually stay here for NC State.
And I think NC State, they have an advantage in the post today with River Baldwin. Wake Forest does not have a good matchup for her. So I think you're going to see NC State go inside early and often.
Those are 2 veterans. Baldwin 140 career games, and Alex Scruggs leads Wake Forest all time, 146 career games. Both are out of eligibility. Here's Sanaya Rivers early on, and a quick miss. That loose ball will go out of bounds.
Sometimes on senior day, it's a little hard to get everybody's emotions in check, and you've got your family here. And so the big thing for NC State is trying to get off to a good start, overcome those emotions.
Here's Wake Forest starting 5. Kaya Harrison, 142 career games. Scruggs, 146, 2 major veterans. But remember, for Wake, Joel Spear, top scorer from a year ago, transferred to Tennessee. So it's a young scoring roster. Scruggs sits on an island with 6. Elise Williams is averaging 19 a game in February, with a good pass to Kaya Harrison in the deflection.
Great vision there by Williams. That's the kind of things that Wake Forest is going to need today.
NC State, fresh off an overtime win over Syracuse, puts them in a spot with a win today. They earn the number 2 seed behind Virginia Tech. Here's Isaiah James off a nice double screen, but misses. Hayes the board, and that one rolls out. Both teams a little slow early offensively.
Right, they're getting good shots on both sides. They just haven't been able to finish.
Here's Wake working it down low to Scruggs. Challenges Collins, but that's off. These teams are a combined 0 of 7.
Sometimes transitions the way to sort of get off of that streak. NC State trying to push.
Final game of the regular season. Wake's locked in the 14 seed. Down low, Baldwin challenges Coles. And that's one area Wake Forest loves, the defense of the redshirt sophomore Malaya Coles.
Yeah, and she's a physical body under there, and she got River a little bit up the lane and made it a little bit tougher of a hook shot.
Harrison in attack mode. Coles left alone. And finally, our first points. Wake Forest breaks the drought.
Big thing in a game like this for NC State is to try and establish their dominance early, get a big lead, because the longer Wake hangs around, the more confidence they're going to build.
Here's Sinai Rivers fresh off 22-8. There's a steal for Williams, the Raleigh native. Played high school up the road at Wakefield High School. Now chucks a three, and the homecoming a bit short. Madison Hayes, who pregame announced she's returning for her 5th year here at NC State. An all-conference defender from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Huge cheer from the crowd for the Tennessee native.
James, nifty look, and Baldwin's there. How about the vision of James?
Yeah, that was it. They had an isolated pick and roll on the weak side there, and Wake Forest had nobody that could help. Perfect dish by Isaiah to River.
NC State averages 15 assists a game. That's in the top 5 in the league. Virginia Tech right now, nearly 20 assists with Georgia Amore dishing the rock.
Amore's a special talent.
Big reason why Kenny Brooks Club won their first ever regular season title in the ACC. Harrison down to 6. Tough matchup, and Rivers is all over it. 2 seconds left, and the bank is short. Scruggs the board, no. And look at this fight for the basketball. Comes out to James. Behind the back. Rivers blocked by Williams, and the intensity here early, Derek's picking up.
Absolutely. That was quite a recovery by Williams, because I thought that Rivers Sinai was going to just be all by her lonesome. We'll take a quick look here. It's a nifty move by James. Here after the block by Collins, loose ball comes up. This was a nifty move right there for James to get the fast break started, but couldn't get the finish.
Wake Forest defensively only allowing 60 points a game in these last 2 road wins. So Baldwin challenges Coles in a strip. It's not just for great shopping deals on Sundays. Coles is pretty good.
Yes, she is. She, again, a little bit undersized against River Baldwin, but you can see NC State is really focused. We've got to get it inside, and I think for Baldwin, when she makes her turnaround, the ball is low. She's got to get it high so she can get it over the defense.
NC State a 1-of-7 start shooting. As James power dribble. Hold on, that's offensive. And Kaya Harrison, the senior's there.
Yeah, great job of establishing position. James with the floater and then landed into her. Sometimes you might get the basket to say it was after the release, but no basket for the pack.
Wake Forest 1 of 8 on this end. How did the Deacons find some offense here early?
Well, I think they've got to have a little bit stronger cutting, really make NC State move from side to side, and then maybe we've got Williams on a drive and dish. Could be the best look.
Williams has been electric, nearly 20 a game in the month of February. But now we begin March, last day of the regular season.
Here she's looking to drive.
Williams with 5. Great screen. Williams into traffic, and that's how you draw it up.
Absolutely. That's what Wake needs right there. Get the ball in Williams' hands and let her to create. She's the one X factor today that can put Wake in a position to win.
Kaya Harrison again active with her hands. 142 games. That's like a decade of college basketball, but she's playing hard here early.
Yeah, with the COVID, the extra year, there's a lot of players that are setting records for games played, and when you've got that much experience, you're not intimidated coming into a crowd like this. Sold out crowd, Reynolds Coliseum.
Last year's matchup in Winston-Salem, both teams struggled in the 40s. It was a low-scoring, defensive-minded game. Very similar start here in Raleigh. So Conley chucks up a 3, and that's short. Sinai Rivers runs the break for NC State. Gets all the way to the bucket, and that one rolls in. A one-woman transition crew.
Yeah, there's that transition offense we mentioned recently, that if you're struggling in the half court, you got to push the ball, see if you get an easy look.
Williams with a dribble display. That's a bit forced. Good defense by Hayes. Now Rivers. What a pass. James the shot fake, and Isaiah gets her easy money. Cashing in on a Sunday.
Yes, and again, more transition. Wake Forest was out of position. Great pass across to James, and the crowd's starting to get into it.
Wake on this end, 1 of its last 7. Fresh off a 4-point loss at home to Clemson. So Williams lets it go. It's been very Williams-centric here early. 4 shots.
Yeah, they need to probably get her off some screens or some ball screens a little more often. Try and get her some freedom for Madison Hayes.
Rivers on the switch. Good hand Scruggs, the Fayetteville native. Alex Scruggs on the move. Does not have the help. The infantry was back behind on defense.
Very few whistles in this game. I think everybody's a little winded waiting for that media timeout.
There's Coles losing the ball. She's been an impact first-year player here for Wake. Down low, Williams, 1v1. Shot fake and a swat by Baldwin on her senior day. So we'll take a media timeout. Both teams a little gassed here early in a 2-point difference here in Raleigh. Number 12, NC State tested the limit Thursday night against Syracuse. 10 lead changes in this game, including a last-second whistle forcing overtime, and then, Derek, the resolve of NC State to pull it out.
Right, that was the kind of situation where it is so hard to get back off the mat because they thought they had won the game, called the foul there with a 1/10 of a second, but they went back to the bench, they regrouped. After a couple missed shots, they really started attacking the glass. Madison Hayes with a big basket here to go up by 3. And then a defensive stop right there at the end. And just huge win to try and secure that number 2 seed to knock Syracuse off of that number 2 spot.
That win Thursday was NC State's 7th ranked win of the year. Them and UCLA have the most in the country. In a game like this, you're not playing a top 25 opponent. How does NC State lock in as there's a turnover for Wake?
Well, a lot of times coaches will say you're not always just focusing on the opponent, you're focusing on yourself, and it's about being intense, playing good defense, trying to establish yourself going into the postseason, and that was such a thriller. You saw Fair was a phenomenal player for Syracuse, but Rivers topped her in the end. 2 of the favorites for ACC Player of the Year. Them and Liz Kitley of Virginia Tech. It'll be a fun debate the next couple of days. It really, I mean, Kitley has been so good. It's hard to imagine that she wouldn't get it, but that's not to downplay how good Rivers and Fair have been this year. It's just a very talented ACC.
Here's Elise Williams on the drive. She's been a scoring machine in February with a loose ball. Liz Kitley, the reigning Player of the Year, and of course, Deja Fair coming from Buffalo. This Syracuse team was picked 9th, getting them up to number 2 at the moment. That's been an incredible season. Yeah, Coach Leggett-Jack from Syracuse. It's been a really impressive performance for her. She'll get a lot of votes for Coach of the Year as well because, like you said, they were picked 9th, and there wasn't a lot expected of them having come off a 9th place finish last year, but they've been very impressive. NC State in this game, one of its last 10 shootings, so James can't end the run, and a loose ball to Conley.
much lower scoring game than we probably anticipated to this point.
The Brisbane, Australia product, Katie Diebel, checks in. Redshirt freshman, excellent shooter. At nearly 40% from three.
Yeah, she went 5 for 5 in their win against Pitt from three-point land.
Conley on the spin. Scruggs for the board. And draws the foul on Collins. Alex Scruggs is like a trash compactor on a Friday, man. She collects dust and makes things happen down low.
Yeah, and she's undersized in her height, and they even listed her as a guard, but she's definitely playing the post, battling, getting the offensive rebounds.
Megan Jebbia calls her the heart and soul player of this team. Really good on the rebounding department.
Yeah, and I mean, as you mentioned earlier, 146 games in her career. She's got a lot of experience.
That is saved by Reagan Conley and a fresh 20 for Wake. Deacons haven't scored in 3 minutes in a defensive-minded first quarter. And Connolly steps out of bounds. Coming up this week with the ACC tournament, that's just a week and a half away, believe it or not. Our last regular season Tuesday doubleheader on the men's side comes up. At 7 Eastern, North Carolina hosts Notre Dame. And then Georgia Tech will head to Winston-Salem on ACC Network. Big win for Carolina yesterday over NC State. That solidified them as a 1 or 2 seed right now.
Yes, it did. And a tough break for NC State, having that 8-point lead at halftime, but couldn't finish. They're desperate to get a marquee win to try and make it in the NCAA tournament.
As Zoe Brooks attacks the lane. Great dime to River Baldwin. Zoe Brooks and Sanaya Rivers, now the first tandem in 6 years to have 100 assists for NC State.
Yeah, and we've seen it in those last 2 baskets. River with the kick pass to James, and then now Brooks. They've got excellent vision, both of them.
Brooks causing traffic on that end. And that duo in 16-17, it led NC State to a great year. They went 23-9. This year's team's on the 2 to 3 seed range in the latest Charlie Crane bracketology on a miss.
I think if NC State can win today and get to the finals of the ACC tournament, I think 2 seed is their future.
As Conley's off on the 3. Here's the young Zoe Brooks. 100 assists and counting. And Hayes hangs on to the ball, but a missed layup. Wolfpack 30%. Wake Forest 11% in this first quarter.
I think both teams are feeling lucky to be in the game the way they've played on offense, but it is the defensive intensity that's picking up as we get into March.
Katie Diebel battling another true freshman, Zoe Brooks. Here's Madison Jordan's first touch, the freshman from Mooresville, nearby product. Conley for 3, and Wake needs a bucket from deep. 0 of 6 early. Wake entered this game hitting almost 7 threes a game.
And Conley, even though she's tall, she's primarily a spot-up three-point shooter.
First minutes for NC State's Maddie Cox, the freshman forward. Baldwin out of a triple team, and nobody can buy a 3 today. State's missed both. And if you're Megan Jebbia, you've got to be a happy camper with this start.
Absolutely. I think that Wake Forest, you just want to stay in the game, And even with only 4 points, they're right there in the game trying to get a big shot here. Probably a ball screen for Williams. Maybe trying to kick it to a 3-point shooter in the corner.
The Raleigh native Elise Williams was 7. Sprints into Baldwin. Challenges River with a flip. And a foul on Wake. That was Coles pushing off.
Baldwin with a great job of knowing her scout there. She did not leave to go to a post shooter that wasn't going to shoot a 3. She stayed home, was able to force a tough shot. Now 1.8 here. This is one of those things on film you can work on. See if you can get a half-court shot here.
Rivers elects to milk out the clock.
Yeah, I don't know if she wasn't aware of the clock or just decided it wasn't worth the risk, but
we go to the second quarter in a defensive battle here. It's not a baseball score. We got basketball rolling here in a 4-point difference.
And it looks like Naya is on her way back. Emily in second. And Sarah making the turn.
final home game here in Raleigh. NC State honoring its 3-woman senior class. River Baldwin in 140 career games for the Wolfpack. Such a productive player, the Florida State transfer. She was joined by Mimi Collins, a fellow a fellow transfer from Maryland. Her last 2 years here, 153 games. And Madison Hayes, the glue player for NC State, 106 career games in her total tenure, 87 for the Wolfpack. And this is the pregame festivities. And then Madison announced she's returning for her COVID year, bringing it all full circle.
Right, Madison, this is her 4th year playing, but has that option to come back. And she just made an announcement, a huge cheer from the crowd there.
So the other 2 seniors are out of eligibility. This is a big month of March for NC State. With a win today, they earn the #2 seed in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Collins on the board, and the senior goes right to work with a second chance.
Senior to senior. It's like a pass off the rim there from Hayes to get it to Collins.
NC State on this end held Wake to their 2nd lowest point total of the season in a quarter, 4 points.
Yeah, we talked about the defensive intensity. They've been solid, forcing Wake into a lot of tough shots.
Alyssa Andrews is coming to the game for Wake, the Woodbridge, Virginia product, in her 89th career game. Katie Diebel. Tough move in the lane, and Diebel is short. Loose ball to Diebel.
The more you can run her off the 3-point line.
Well, Diebel's left alone, and a miss. Wake is 0 of 8 from deep.
That's her sweet spot right there, but tough miss for Wake.
Now it's Zoe Brooks, a candidate for Freshman of the Year in the ACC. Her and Hannah Hidalgo will tally up some votes this week. Hidalgo has set the freshman record, 11 Freshman of the Week honors this year. So then Hayes is blocked by Williams.
If I'm a coach right now, I've got to talk about driving to the basket, try and get to the free throw line.
Diebel forces one up, and Wake can't buy a 3. 2 of 24 start shooting. Playing hard though on this end. Collins in her senior day backs it out and misses the jumper. Where do you find offense here if you're Wake?
Boy, you know, Williams has really tried to drive and score and finish. I think I want to look more for a drive and kick, because you've got a lot of shooters on the floor that can make it if they're open. So I think I'm looking for open the lane, drive, kick.
This is Wake's lowest scoring total since a loss at Duke back in February. Rivers the steal and an open court foul.
That has to be an intentional foul right there. It was just 2-hand push from behind. It was clearly, yep.
An intentional foul here on Katie Diebel. So
yeah,
free throws and the basketball.
Yeah, Sanaya gets the steal right here on the kick out, and she's got a couple of steps. You'll see. Here's the kick out. She gets it. She's got a couple of steps on Wake. And really, you just got to let her go, but they went with the 2-hand push. Even with 2 points in the ball, you prevented a layup, so it's debatable, but Sanaya's a pretty good free throw shooter. See if she can make her pay.
Well, in this baseball game of a score, every point matters.
Exactly.
14 combined. As Rivers now has 3 points. Managing the emotions of a senior day if you're NC State. 3 starters honored pregame.
Well, and I think not just the emotions of senior day, but the Thursday night game was so intense. I sat there behind the bench, a couple rows behind the bench, and just watched the team and how intense they were on earning that big win over Syracuse. And I think it's just a little bit of a letdown right now. They just got to keep working through that, trying up their intensity some more.
The Wolfpack will sub in freshman Lacey Steele out of Edmond, Oklahoma. She'll give Hayes the breather. So 3 freshmen on the court for Westmore. Including the electric Zoe Brooks as that pass is tipped.
And when you talk about going to Greensboro for the ACC tournament, to win a championship, you've got to win 3 games in 3 days. You're going to need some contributions from Steele and Cox and Brooks. You can't just do it with the 5 starters. So this is good to get them some minutes to build their confidence.
NC State on a 5 of 18 shooting start. So Rivers sizes up Williams. That's an elite matchup. And last touch by Mimi Collins.
Okay, Williams is listed at 5'9", but she seems to play so much bigger than that. Really gave Sanaya some trouble, and Sanaya elevates so well on that jumper. Shouldn't have many players that do give her trouble on that.
True freshman point guard Katie Diebel brings it up the court. And now Riley Turcoff has it. The product of New Jersey. Great shooter. Williams looking to buy a bucket. She's 1 of 8 early on. What has State done well to frustrate her?
I mean, they're really putting a lot of, they're being physical with her, not letting her cut cleanly off these screens.
Good find for the freshman Brooks, and Steele is short. Neither team can buy a 3 today. 0 of 13 combined.
Yeah, it's definitely a bricklaying fest so far.
Building a sold-out Reynolds Coliseum, but no offense to show for it.
Try and build an extra wing to Reynolds with all the bricks.
Here's Andrews. Wanted Scruggs in the lane. Turcoff on attack mode and a foul. Good drive there from Riley Turcoff, the freshman.
Yeah, really nice. She was a top 100 player coming out of high school. Wake Forest with the. Here we're going to take a look at her. There's the drive. Maddie Cox tried to get over. You know, one thing that Maddie may learn, that she'll learn from River Baldwin, is sometimes you can slide over and take that charge. That's something River's really good at. But instead, Maddie went for the block and ended up committing the foul.
So Cox with her first exits. Baldwin returns. And Wake Forest has not scored a point since the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. That streak continues. Turcoff came out of high school, the number 29 guard in the country for Megan Jebby, who brings in a great recruiting class, top 100.
Right. A top 25 class, and the first time in over 10 years that they've had multiple players from the top 100 in Turcoff.
So the streak is broken. An 8-minute scoring drought is finally over for Wake.
Madison Jordan, the other one.
Here's a freshman for NC State, and that one rattles out. Baldwin the board into a triple team, and it's a WWE scrum. That'll stay on this end.
You know, and as a coach, sometimes you're like, oh, maybe we should penetrate more. Maybe we should kick out. But I'm seeing a lot of good shots. They're just not falling right now, and eventually they will start to fall.
This is the intensity that Don Staley's defense lives on. They lead the country in fewest points allowed. Led South Carolina to a national championship playing this hard on the defensive end. That time, though, State goes right over to Mimi Collins.
That's a nice inbounds play right there to get a look deep in the paint for Mimi.
Another foul on Brooks guarding Katie Diebel.
You know, one of the stats I was looking at, NC State in the first 25 games gave up 67 points or less, or more than 67 only 4 times. But in the last 4 games, every single game, more than 67. They've got to get back to that low-scoring defense.
State enters this game 4th in the ACC in scoring defense. Right now, Albany leads the country, 52 points a game. Coles gets pressured. Remember, Wake's only made 2 shots from the field today. Diebel spins, and she carried. There's a turnover.
Yeah, trying to make a spin move again. If you can run her off the 3-point line, that's always going to be a good move for NC State's defense. But just to finish that point, NC State has given up more than 67 in 4 straight games after only doing it 4 times the entire first part of the season.
Wake Forest, or sorry, Wes Moore will have to be pleased with his defense here on Wake. Steele on the shot fake. Right back to Rivers, who's wide open and knocked in the first 3 of the game.
She has worked so hard on her 3-point shooting since she came to State. Her freshman year at South Carolina, she just hit 1. She's already up to 19 for this season, and she's such a good driver that just a little bit of 3-point shooting just makes her impossible to guard.
Sanaya has outscored Wake. She has 7 points in the first half. Williams part of this motion attack with Princeton elements. Trouble breaking down Wes Moore's defense tonight. Coles is stripped, and there's Rivers doing everything. The bucket, the steal. And then Williams picked her pocket. Nearing the 5-minute mark of this low-scoring first half. Wolfpack with a win, or in the number 2 seed in the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Baldwin kicks it. Everyone touching the rock, and a little extra there. Collins to travel. As we'll take the media. Sanaya Rivers kickstarting the Wolfpack offense here early.
Yeah, she's really showing her leadership. And here going into the break, you see the kick out from Lacey Steele. She lines up that 3 and nails it to give NC State a big 12-point lead.
Fans, turn your attention to the board and look the NC State Women's Club.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Junior guard Sinai Rivers making a case for all ACC. Off to a nice start with 7 points tonight. And this game Thursday, she took over against the Cuse. What has allowed Sinai to take this next jump late in her junior year?
Well, when she was a freshman at South Carolina, she was playing behind so many All-Americans that it was hard for her to build her confidence. But when she came to NC State, the coaching staff believed in her. She got a lot of minutes, and she has really worked. As I mentioned earlier, she only hit 1 3 her entire freshman year. But to have the confidence with under 2 minutes to go to shoot a game-tying 3 against Syracuse just shows how much she's grown. And she is just an all-ACC talent for the Wolfpack. Tonight,
Rivers has outscored Wake Forest, who is shooting 2 of 25. Hard to find offense in this second quarter. 3 freshmen on the court for Coach Megan Jebbia, whose team made the NIT last year. Right now, they're searching for a 3rd straight road win in the conference. Diebel under constant duress. Here's Turcoff. James right in her grill, clocked at 2. Scruggs gotta go. And Scruggs lost track of the clock. What's impressed you about Westmore's defense today?
They're just, I know we keep saying this word intensity, but they are really up on the Wake Forest players, not giving them any space to drive, not getting any good passing lanes, and just being focused, knowing how important this game is to win.
There's River Baldwin down low. State on this end shooting only 30%, but James dekes out 1. A loose ball to Turcoff. So neither team shooting the lights out as we hit the final 4 minutes of this first half.
Yeah, Westmore not going to be that pleased with 17 points at this point, but the defense has made up for it.
Turcoff for 3. That one's short, and Collins has it. Wake entered this game hitting 7 threes a game. They're 0 for 12. James, a candidate for comeback player of the year, best season after a 6-point-a-year freshman campaign, and a foul for Baldwin.
Well, when she was here as a freshman, she was instant offense off the bench. She didn't always get that many minutes, but she took over the starting role real late in last season, and from that point, she had a 20-plus game at Virginia Tech, I recall, and then the very first game of the year, she had 19 points against Charlotte in the first quarter. And it's just taken off from there. I think she's a great candidate for most improved in the ACC.
James in her last 5 games, 20 points a night. Shooting it right around 55%. And her ability to make plays off the dribble has taken State to the next level.
Yeah, she's such a tough person for other teams to defend because she's been very consistent from the 3-point line, but she's so quick off the drive, and she can make some acrobatic shots. She's known for sort of some leaners that are difficult, but she knocks them in.
If you want a top 5 of playmakers in this league, Tanaya Latson, Deasia Fair, and Isaiah James, those 3 just do so much one-on-one.
Right.
Conley on this end. Wake Forest needs a bucket and gets one, snapping a 3-minute drought.
Wake Forest going to try and put some full court pressure here just to change the momentum.
That was Wake's first field goal of the second quarter. Rivers behind the back. Said, keep an eye on my ISO game. Give her 9.
Right, and that time she didn't have Williams on her. She had a smaller defender, so she could just elevate. She could do that all day if she wants to.
You see Madison Hayes begging Conley to go left. This Wolfpack defense has been tenacious today. Only 7 points allowed. Wake entered this game scoring just over 60.
You can just see how hard they're fighting through screens. Right there, preventing the easy look.
Now Conley has it with 4. Down to 2. Conley's doubled. No foul. And a shot clock violation.
Here's Rivers against Harrison right there. It's a smaller defender, and she can just stop and pull up. You know, I almost feel like she needs to be more aggressive in her scoring because she is such a difficult person to defend. Her and James are one of the best backcourts in the country working together.
Wake commits a foul on the drive, only the 13th foul. NC State in this quarter, they found some rhythm offensively, but it started with their guard play in this quarter.
Yeah, exactly. They're driving, they're kicking out. Also, they went into River Baldwin a couple possessions ago. She made a nice kick out, so they're really looking for their teammate and being unselfish.
Here's James, and she's yet to find some offense. Only 2 points tonight.
Yeah, those are shots she's used to making. You can see a little bit of frustration on her face after that shot.
Williams' turn. The Raleigh native is way short. It's a 1-9 start for Williams. Rivers. is fouled by Williams. So free throws here. In a game where offense has been hard to come by, Sania's starting to take over.
She really is, and I think that's something that she needs to look to do as you go into the postseason, because she's so quick with the basketball that no matter what team they're playing in the country, she can get herself a shot. And so I think she needs to have that aggressive mindset to lead her team.
Rivers continues to outscore Wake in this first half. She has 10. Back-to-back games with 20 points for Sania. Starting to heat up at the right time as we gear up for the conference tournament this week.
Right, and when you think if they get the 2 seed, Virginia Tech at the 1, you think about that potential rematch. Virginia Tech doesn't have somebody that can guard Rivers off the dribble.
Big 3 for Jordan, and that's the first triple for Wake today.
Freshman out of Morrisville, North Carolina, Panther Creek High School, so she's another local product for the Deacs.
Hayes steps into a 3. Unable to trade triples, and that'll go to Wake Forest.
Wake Forest down 13 here after making that triple. They've got to think about getting it under 10 points to try and feel confident going into halftime with 1:40 left.
A Wake team that's shooting 13%, but hanging around because of their defense in this first half. State holding a baker's dozen advantage. No room for Williams to operate today, the Raleigh native. Down to 6. Conley off a screen, steps into 1, and Conley starting to heat up. Give her 4.
That's 2 baskets from her from that same distance right there. A little mid-range jumper off of a ball screen.
Here's Rivers. Baldwin, great position, challenges Scruggs, and a foul. That's a mismatch the Wolfpack need to exploit.
Right, and Scruggs is an undersized post under there, and she's prone to foul trouble. Fouled out 6 times this year. I think NC State, when the game first started, the game plan was go into Baldwin. They sort of got away from that, but I feel like that's still an advantage that they can exploit as this game goes along.
The ACC Women's Basketball Tournament begins Wednesday at Greensboro Coliseum, just up the road, with every matchup but the championship game on ACC Network. Head to ESPN for the finals. First round coverage begins Wednesday, and that's where Wake Forest will be set as a number 14 seed. And Conley says, hey, who needs Greensboro? I can shoot it from Raleigh too.
That's right, and she is an excellent shooter. She got those first 2 to go in. Wake Forest has got it under 9, under 10, as we mentioned. State needs to try and extend it.
Collins for 3. Unable to answer, and a loose ball, last touch by Williams. What has allowed Wake Forest to crawl back into the second quarter?
Well, their defense, they've continued to force NC State into some tough shots. Also a little bit of luck there. That was a great look by Collins that most of the time will go down, that rattled out. But I think offensively, instead of just having Williams force it all the time, they're letting some of their other players find some looks, particularly Conley.
State up 9. Another look for Collins. That time a miss. And Harrison in a tussle for the boards. Megan Jebbia wanting tempo here. So the 5th-year senior stops, pops, and draws the foul. 142 games in Harrison's career. She knows how to make plays like that.
Right, and that was a good read by her because there was about a 5-second difference in the shot clock. So there was no need to hold for the last shot here. She's got Zoe Brooks, sort of gets a step on her, forces the foul, and now she'll get to the line for 2 to cut into this lead even more. I think this is a surprising score for those around the country just peeking in, particularly with how low NC State's only scored 24 in the half.
Wake Forest has drastically improved this year, plus 10% from a year ago at the free throw line. They're now at right around 73%. I'm going to round up, 72.9, 73 with that free throw.
Yeah, and so that's a big part of this 5-out offense that they like to run, is to cut to the basket, to try and drive and try and get to the free throw line and take advantage.
But that time a miss. 3 of 4 from the line for Wake. NC State could hold for the final shot in one of its lowest scoring first halves of the year.
I think you got to look for Sania coming off a ball screen here and either drive or kick.
Kaya Harrison so active in her final regular season game. Right in the grill of Rivers. Good double team, Scruggs. Rivers into traffic, no. Tip drill off in time. Not that one. What a tussle, a fight. It's a WWE Raw matchup through 20 minutes.
That possession was a microcosm of the whole half. It was just a bit of a mad scramble, and It's been low scoring. It's been intense. It's March basketball.
It's Rick Raines. It's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It's got everything. Final day of the regular season. We got halftime when we come back.
Welcome into this ACC Network Halftime Report. Hope you enjoyed the first half. The ladies are here. Hall of Fame coach Muffin McGraw, Kelly Gramlich, and Ivory Latta. I'm Justin Walters. It appears to be a three-horse race for ACC Coach of the Year. Let's take a look at all the candidates because it is a tight one. Virginia Tech has clinched the #1 seed in the ACC tournament. It's the first regular season conference title for the Hokies since winning the Atlantic 10 in 1999. Syracuse was predicted to finish 9th in the ACC preseason poll, but on Sunday, the Orange clinched the top 4 seed in the upcoming tourney. And finally, NC State, not ranked in the preseason AP poll, the Wolfpack have been ranked in the top 15 of every other AP poll this season and in the top 10 in 13 of the 16 weeks. Let's start off with the middle team. Kelly, your conversation, and you now have the platform to make a case for Coach Jack.
Well, I'll gladly do that, but I will say, I have not submitted my vote yet, and you won't make me yet. I'm going to wait till the very end. But Coach Jack, I think, is a very worthy winner of ACC Coach of the Year. What she's done with Syracuse, guys, this was a team that she inherited 2 years ago with 4 returning players. This program was in disarray. Last year, she has them on the bubble. They don't make it. This year, she adds some really key pieces, Alyssa Latham, the freshman, but mainly her roster just improves. So many players improve around De'Asia Fair. And then the way she's cultivated De'Asia Fair and allowed that team to thrive with someone who also needs the ball so much and is such a great player, I think Felicia Leggett-Jack would be very deserving of ACC Coach of the Year.
I agree. I think she would be very deserving also. I also have not submitted my vote yet. But I'm going to talk about Wes Moore because I love what he's done with his team this year. They came from unranked to 3rd in the country, first time it's ever been done. So people were looking past them. But the way each player has improved, when I was looking at most improved player, I was like, well, this one improved. Well, she improved. Well, everybody on their team. So you look at what he's done to build this team this year, and you see how each player has really come along, and they play their role. Everybody kind of does what they need to do. Sanaya Rivers, maybe their best athlete, but Isaiah James, probably their best player. But I love what Wes has done, as I do with Kenny Brooks. I love all 3 of them. They're 3 great candidates.
Well, thank you. Save the best for last. I haven't put my vote in yet, but if I had to say, it definitely will be Kenny Brooks. And the culture that he's built there at Virginia Tech, from where, you know, when I played and how Virginia Tech was and how they are now with the crowds, he has the 2 best players in the nation. And the way he gets the best players to play and everybody else to play around him is great. And they love playing for him. He expects a lot from them. They go out there, they play hard every single night, and they give it all they got. And once again, you got the best point guard. You know, I'm all about the point guard. So, you know, Kenny Brooks looks like he can be a point guard, too.
Well, he is. I mean, his skill development with Georgia and Liz has really taken them off the charts. And, Justin, it's subjective, right? It's what do you value? The improvement from Syracuse and NC State, or living up to expectations with Virginia Tech, replacing some key players? You know, the votes will decide. This is democracy.
You mentioned that. So all 3 coaches very deserving. But when you speak about exceeding expectations, Coach, who would you give that award to based off of what they have coming into the preseason and now where they are?
You know, that's a tough choice because NC State picked 8th and Syracuse picked 9th.
But
and they're 3 and 4.
You know, so they most likely.
We'll see what happens, you know, in the tournament going forward. But I think both have overachieved. But it's not easy. You're picked number 1, and you got to withstand that pressure. And so for him to do that, I think is exceptional.
Syracuse has overachieved more.
Okay.
Syracuse doesn't have any McDonald's All-Americans on that roster.
All I'm going to say is, ladies, make sure you put in your ballots, right? Okay?
Yes.
Put it on paper. Of course, you could have all the great conversations and hear from some of those coaches in one place. That is ACC PM, weekdays, 4 p.m. Mark Packer, Taylor Tannenbaum. It's appointment television from a basement. Second half starts your way shortly.
Maybe the best part of this first half was the amazing Sladek. Watch this guy balance himself on chairs all throughout the halftime performance. Job well done, Mr. Amazing. You were rock solid, like Pete Weber back in his PBA days. You know who I am? I am. And Mr. Sladek, he was rocking and rolling here in Raleigh. Also noting here in the ACC Conference, couple of scores final today. So NC State with a win, they'll surpass Syracuse for that 2 spot. Wake knows its journey. They have the tiebreaker over Pitt. So this second half for Wake, not going to decide who or when they play, but from a momentum standpoint, pretty big. Wolfpack, though, they got to close out these next 20 minutes. Because today, we told you about Pitt. Boston College was clicking. And then Miami and Georgia Tech, that's a big seeding matchup for the first round. Who will play a Pitt or who will play a Wake Forest? And then the big game tonight, Duke, Carolina. Right. The winner of that game could slide in as high as 4, maybe 5. There's a lot of math to figure out as we wrap up the final day of the regular season. And with that, welcome you back to Reynolds Coliseum with Derek Jordan. I'm Evan Budrovich. Sort of a baseball score early on, but Sinai Rivers started to take over. And how about Wake Forest on that 6-0 run down the first half?
Yes, Evan. State was starting to pull away. It was 23-7. And we talked about, is Wake going to be able to squeeze back into it, maybe get it under 10? They went on a 9-1 run, including the last 6. And they've been holding their own. One of the keys to the game for me was how well they do rebounding. They're only 4 back in the rebounding battle. And so for Coach Gebbia, I mean, I think only being down 8, especially only scored 4 points in the first quarter, she couldn't be happier about the position they're in. Whereas NC State, I think Coach Moore is going to have to, the defense is obviously great. Offensively, they're going to have to look for better ways to get a little bit better shots and just get some to fall. So I don't know if they're feeling a little bit tight for senior day, but they're going to have to step it up.
Sinai Rivers nearly outscored Wake in that first half. 11 points early on. A lot of times in that second quarter, NC State needed a bucket and Sinai delivered.
She really did, and we talked a little bit about transition. She really pushed the basketball to try and get some early looks, and the 11 points is here's the pull-up. She hit the 3. She hit the drive. She's needed to be a leader for this Wolfpack squad, and so far, she's been the leader on a day when the seniors need a leader to step up for them. She's done it.
Yeah, very tense in that first quarter. Both teams, it was a combined 8-4 after the first. What do you want to see if you're NC State and Wake starting this third quarter?
Well, for Wake, I would just want to build off of the way they finished that second quarter. They were getting the ball to Conley, getting the ball to Jordan. You know, if NC State's going to focus so much on Williams on all those ball screens, maybe you kick it out to an open shooter. For NC State, I almost feel like I want to come into this third quarter, and even though we don't, you know, Westmore doesn't always feel like he wants to run sets, he wants to push, try and figure out who he wants to get a shot for and really put them in a good position, be it James or Baldwin, and maybe run a set right here out of the halftime just to get the momentum going.
Wake Forest only down 8 after this first half. The Demon Deacons haven't won in this building since 2017. A big challenge for Megan Gebbia's club, who shot 18% in the first half. The good news, Wake's in this game because of their defense.
Right, and give a lot of credit to the Wake Forest coaching staff, because this team was 0-14 in the league, and they're still playing hard, won 2 of their last 3, and they're in it against a top 15 NC State team.
Elise Williams, the Raleigh native, starts this second half. Great dime to Coles and a block. Good hands by Rivers.
Rivers showing that leadership again.
On this end, the Wolfpack only shot 25% in the first half, and a foul here on Elise Williams. That's her second.
Some got bailed out just a little bit there. She got caught in traffic. Williams got caught with the reach in, though.
You see Williams fighting for calls. She's playing with some toughness, and she's trying to drive her team in the second half.
Well, especially being a Raleigh native. You know she wants this one more than any other game on the schedule.
NC State's won 9 straight meetings in this series. James behind the back, no. And that goes out of play. Just a cold night for offense so far.
Right, and those are shots that James is consistently made throughout the year, but she just can't get them to fall so far. Westmore looks a little bit flabbergasted over there on how to get a bucket.
That's an SAT word, my friend. With Derek Jordan, I'm Evan Budrovich. Final day of the regular season. NC State with a win earns the 2. With a loss, they drop to the 4, and a block for Collins. How important is this game seeding-wise for NC State?
Oh, it's tremendously important because NC State lost twice to Virginia Tech. They're sitting at that 1 seed. The last thing you want to do is drop to a 4 and have to see them in the semifinals. Ideally, you want to go through that 2 slot and just have a better matchup as you work through the tournament.
The winner of Louisville Notre Dame is in that 3-4 position, depending on how today unfolds. As Scruggs jacks up a 3, and that's off. Wake is 2 of 14 from deep.
You've got Syracuse in that slot too. You could be looking at a 2-3 matchup of Syracuse and NC State, which would be a great rematch from Thursday.
Rivers, Baldwin down low, and that's a blocking foul. Tremendous finish from the senior.
Great job with the pick and roll on the isolated side. We saw something very similar early in the first half. Here we'll take a look at it. See, Baldwin was all by herself on that side. The help defense is late to get there. Conley, just a perfect pick and roll. That little pocket pass by Rivers. It looks so smooth. It's not as easy as she makes it look.
Tonight, Rivers over 100 assists. She's now 7th in the conference. Georgia Amore leads the ACC in assists. Nearly 7 a game for Amore as that ball goes out of play. Well, and important is the vision of a point guard in moments like this.
Oh, it's incredibly important because you're trying to get good shots. You're trying to get good looks, and from the moment that Sinai Rivers stepped on campus last year, you could see how good her vision was with the basketball. And she wasn't a natural point guard necessarily, but Westmore saw that vision and said, we've got to have the ball in her hands.
A former 5-star player for Don Staley at South Carolina. This has been Sania's team the last month. Fresh off a 20-point game. She leads the club with 11 today. Here's Sania with the rock, calls her own number, and a nice jumper. That's NC State getting Sania involved.
Right, and an excellent set coming off the out-of-bounds play right there. Sania came off the double screen. Wake Forest tried to jump it, and Sania just faded to the corner for the shot.
So Sania has 13. Wake has 16, if you're keeping track at home. Deeks have 7 from Conley early. She's been great from 3 today. Williams has been held in check, 1 of 9 shooting. Elise goes for 10, and her toughest look falls.
That was quite a difficult shot. She was able to get on the other side of the rim, almost use that as a protector to avoid the block shot.
The Raleigh native came to play. Tremendous effort from the guard, and pokes that one out of play.
Here's a look at that last play by Sania. You see Wake Forest jumped the screen there. Williams was trying to get the steal, so Sania faded back to the corner, had the open look. Great job of reading the defense.
Rivers is at 40% shooting, but here in the last month, she's up near 50%. Developing at the right time as the ACC tournament begins Wednesday. Baldwin down low. Good switch by Coles. Hayes finds it and finishes. A hard-earned bucket for the senior.
Madison Hayes, we've talked about her being the glue to this team. We're going to take a look. Baldwin sort of lost control right there on the double, but Madison Hayes is always just in the right place at the right time, was crashing for a possible offensive rebound, gets the garbage. Not only does she get the ball, she gets the finish and one.
Her parents, Greta and Adrian, here in attendance as Hayes announced she's coming back for her 5th year. That's the level of toughness the Wolfpack needed today.
Yeah, she's such a leader for this team. We talk about it with Rivers, but Hayes as well. Her intensity has been so strong all season, and that's a big boost for the Pack next season, knowing she'll be back.
No room for Reagan Conley. Very active hands. Brooks is in her grill. Down to 6. Wake's got to get a look. No easy options. Williams on the switch. Step back in the face of Hayes.
Wow, with the shot clock going down, she didn't have much choice there, but a step back 3 against one of the best defenders in the ACC. Great shot.
Her handles are next level, making things happen one-on-one. Now Wake needs a stop on this end. Good hands by Harrison. And an offensive foul. That's an illegal screen on Baldwin. Her first foul.
You know, going back to Williams from Wake Forest, you got to know that she's all ACC level talent, but being on a team that's finishing 2 and 15 in the league, she might not get the votes to make the team or one of the teams, but
she has my vote. Well, on my ballot. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly. She's got that talent, and so you're seeing it shine today.
All ACC selections come out Tuesday. And with Liz Kitley well in line for back-to-back player of the years, it'll be curious how it unfolds. I think Sania Rivers has a chance at first team all-conference, and Williams looks to join her there with free throws.
And one of the problems for NC State's balance, if you will, they've got 5 players that average double figures, and so the scoring is a little bit more spread out. And if you just look at the stat sheet, you might not think Rivers, oh, she's one of the top 5, but when you watch this team play game after game, you see what a special talent she is and how much impact she has on NC State being the number 2 seed in this whole league.
Muffin McGraw mentioned at halftime, you look at this state roster, it's hard to tell who's the most improved player because everyone's taking a jump. 5 in double figures, one of 10 teams in the country to do it. And Elise Williams on this end, she's been cooking since the calendar turned to February. That's third in the ACC in scoring in February, 18 a game.
Yeah, and she just continues to heat up because she had 31 and 28 in her last 2.
First time ever with back-to-back 20 points for Williams. Right now she's at 9, so could get there in the second half. If Wake's going to get on a run, they've made the quarters the last 3 years. They need Williams to cook.
Right. She's got to have monster games for this team to win. Because they lost 3 starters from last season, she's got to be the one.
Extra passing here for the Wolfpack. Rivers kicks it. Here's Collins. Bangs in the 3.
You can see NC State is in a much better rhythm in this third quarter. Rivers gave up the 3-point shot to drive and dish and get a better look.
That's the Wolfpack's 7th assist on 12 buckets. Williams nifty to the rim. At least Williams with 11. How about the finish and the drive on that one?
Right, a great job just getting through the defender and then reaching up around Baldwin to avoid the block shot. Great job.
She has Jamal Crawford-esque dribble and drive moves back when he won 6th Player of the Year with the Clippers.
Right.
She just makes so many different plays.
Right, she's just so creative with the basketball.
Here's Collins short on the 3. Williams has it. The electric Raleigh product.
And so far, every time NC State feels like they might pull away, Wake Forest keeps inching back.
Elise joined the 1,000-point club this week. Splits 2. Another nice pass, leading to a missed 3, but a good look for Conley.
That's how Wake Forest has to get this offense rolling, is let Williams cook.
Baldwin's cooking down low on the mismatch, and Baldwin tumbles for a bucket.
The senior with the tough left-handed finish.
It's an ice skating show here in Raleigh early. 11-point game. Jordan makes it 8.
That's her second 3. Another top 100 player for Wake right out of this Raleigh area in Morrisville.
Fantastic freshman class. The highest rated class in Wake Forest history. 25th in the country. Collins, the senior, challenges the young Jordan. And then James bangs in the 3 on a bounce.
That's the shooter's roll right there. That's from shooting in this gym 10,000 times probably. Getting used to that roll.
State's made 6 of its last 7. Wake's made 4 of its last 5. Now we have an 11-point game. Williams off the screen, uncontested. 13 for release.
No help defense right there. I think Rivers was trying to make sure she didn't give up the open 3, but great drive off the ball screen by Wake Forest.
8 straight games in double figures for Elise. And then Sanaya fakes out everybody for 2 more.
That's an elite hesitation dribble right there.
Back and forth, offensive thriller after slow first half.
Right, I think these teams at halftime, they finally started to get warmed up.
Harrison's turn, give her 2 more, back and forth we go.
NC State really having a lot of trouble with that ball screen right now. They might look to hedge or trap a little bit more, slow that driver off the corner.
James' turn, that's off, and a foul on Isaiah. So heading to break. These teams have combined for 33 points, and Wake Forest starting to cook here in this third quarter.
It's an offensive explosion right here. You see the local native Jordan with the big 3 for Wake, and then NC State comes right back with the answer from Rivers on this hesitation dribble for the score.
Fans, now please welcome to the court tonight's Urban Air Spirit Kid of the Game, Zachary. It's time for our
Finally.
Get on your feet and make some noise if you want to
thick 4-ring binder that had all the papers, and
Yeah.
such a nerd I was.
Did you have a trapper keeper, or was that after your time? Trapper keeper? Oh, you have to Google that. That is before your time then. It's basically just a binder with a Velcro flap on top. Yeah. Well, we'll Google that. Just Google old people and it'll just come right up. Yeah. That was probably a brand name, I guess. Yes, yes. Well, you got to wait till the fourth quarter, so we'll keep our eye on free chicken.
2 weeks from Selection Sunday, and all of a sudden things are picking up for the ACC. These are Charlie Cream's latest projections. Tech and NC State right among the top 3 seeds. Remember, if you're in the top 4, you host the first 2 rounds. So Notre Dame, Syracuse, right on that edge. Duke's had a great year under Kara Lawson. They have a chance at 12 wins today in the conference. And then you add in the 9 teams in this tournament. There are no bubble teams. There are 3 hosting caliber programs. What a year for the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Really impressive. It shows how strong this league is. 1 through 9, all solidly in the tournament, and that top 4 seed is so huge. NC State, Virginia Tech, I think, are comfortable in being there, but I think whoever gets to the semifinals of the AC tournament, we had Louisville or Notre Dame, can get that next host as well.
Good ball to Scruggs down low, and Wake Forest, don't sleep on the 14 seed. They're hanging around here in Raleigh.
There's another one of those just ball screens with Williams. NC State's just not handling it very well. They're going to have to look to make some adjustments.
Syracuse, Tech, and NC State have clinched double byes in the tournament. It's still up for grabs, that final spot, as Wake gets the rebound.
Most likely the winner of Louisville Notre Dame today will get that 4th one.
Conley in transition with her 3rd 3. What has Wake done to flip the script here, Derek?
You know, the pick and roll obviously is giving State trouble, and just confidence. Like, they believe in themselves. And I felt like in that first quarter, they looked a little defeated, but definitely not in this 3rd quarter.
Baldwin swings it. Collins' turn. Responds for 3.
That's a senior being a leader right there, from Baldwin to Collins. This is their last game in this building, at least in the regular season, and they don't want to go out with a loss.
28th 3 of the season for Collins, playing pick and pop with her senior partner. Not just homecoming, the seniors work together.
Right.
Williams off the pick. She fires and hits. 15 for Williams, double figures in the second half.
Yeah, she struggled a little bit shooting that first half, but she's really starting to heat up.
That time Collins passes up the 3.
Right, it was early in the offense, but after hitting one, I thought that might be the way to go.
Hayes makes everyone fall over, and then a scramble. Addison slow to get up. She got hit hard by Scruggs. Now Williams in her bag. Not much room to operate. The Raleigh native steps back and is cooking on home turf.
You can see it a big basket right now. You could just tell Westmore's going to have to go to a timeout, but you could just tell that Williams, when she got that basketball in transition, she wasn't giving it up.
We'll take the timeout. Wake Forest back within 3. They're on the final day of the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the floor your NC State.
We got a game here, boys.
We do have a game.
After a 1-for-9 start in the first half, Elise Williams now has 15 in the secondary.
Yeah, she's really been impressive with the way she's just trying to take over the game. She's such a good mid-range scorer. You're seeing those pull-ups. To go from 2 points to 17 points in the first 8 minutes of the third quarter, that's crazy. And Wake Forest overall, they started this game 2-25, but they've been shooting 71% in this third quarter. So NC State's going to have to step up the defense.
Good hands by Debo on that end. This lead that was as big as 15 is trimmed to 3 in the last few minutes. See the Wolfpack feeding Baldwin down low. Scruggs wanted a charge, instead a bucket.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a flop there. Good no call, and gave River Baldwin an easy bucket.
Debo on this end is off, and Rivers the board. Now Sanaya running the break. Good pass to Hayes. She misses the 3.
That's a shot she normally makes. An excellent three-point shooter this season.
Wolfpack had struggled from deep. 4 of 12 today. Scruggs down low. You see Wake passing up good shots for great shots. Then Scruggs kicks it, and Connolly traveled. Maybe that time a little too much passing.
Right. I think that sometimes you can get too unselfish and you end up walking yourself into a forced turnover or an unforced turnover there.
And elements of this Princeton-based offense, you're trying to drive and move the ball, and then sometimes you have to flip that mindset to score.
Right. Exactly. That sometimes you give up. If it's a really good shot, you're trying to find the perfect shot. Sometimes that's just too much.
Chris Mooney at Richmond, maybe the godfather of the modern Princeton offense. They're about to win the A-10 this year again on the men's and women's side. Great hands by Williams. Now this offense is moving and grooving. Elise swings it, open 3. Jordan hits.
That's her third 3.
There's a Jordan in Chapel Hill, and there's a Jordan here in Raleigh cruising.
Yeah, no relation, but both from Raleigh.
Living up to the name.
That's right.
For sure.
Absolutely.
30 years later, young Jordan for Wake Forest. Madison Jordan putting on a show. Rivers here. Brooks attacks the defense and free throws.
And NC State's got to keep doing that. Keep attacking. I still don't think Wake Forest can handle them off the dribble, particularly Brooks, Hayes, and Rivers. So, and even James. I think all 4 of them can drive.
Zoe Brooks, a candidate for Freshman of the Year, or 6th Player of the Year as well in the ACC. Both are up for grabs. As on Wednesday, the Nothing But Net crew, they'll be in Greensboro, as a matter of fact, for the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament. That's the first round coverage. Highlights, analysis, and interviews. You can watch it on the ACC Network. And there's a college game day coming out on Sunday of Championship Sunday in Greensboro. So watch the whole crew all week.
And NC State has had 3 straight 6th Player of the Years, trying to get an unprecedented 4th with Brooks.
Wake Forest has flipped the script. 28 points in this third quarter. Jordan, another 3. Bang!
She has got the confidence right now, and it's a 1-point game.
Rivers just short. And don't sleep on a 2-15 Wake Forest team. 31 points in this third quarter.
Yeah, after only 16 in the entire first half here, NC State went zone and just lost the shooter that's been hot this whole quarter. It's quite a ball game going into the fourth quarter.
What a barn burner of a third quarter. 55 combined points in the third. And now Wake Forest got hot from three. Madison Jordan had 3 of those herself. And now it's become a scoring battle as we enter the fourth quarter.
Right. And Madison Jordan, the local product and a top 100 recruit, you're really seeing why. She's matched her career high in threes with 4, hitting 3 in that third quarter. And NC State's going to have to find where she is and lock her down.
Wake Forest is known for shooting three-pointers. A top 5 season all-time in three-point makes. And 7 today. Now Hayes on this end sizes up Wake's defense. And a good block. Cole's there.
Wake, you just see the confidence building and building. NC State's adjusted to a smaller lineup here. Try and prevent some of those threes.
Wake shot 5 of 8 from 3 in the third quarter to crawl back into this one. And a risky pass for a turnover. Only Wake's 9th giveaway of the game.
Well, it is, and that's a testament to how well they've been playing. And it's interesting to see Westmore's adjustment here, that going into the game, I thought that Baldwin would be the advantage, but right now they're deciding to go small to match up to what Wake's doing.
James given space. Ziya's been held in check with 5 points. What a pass to Brooks. Another extra pass. And then Hayes into the trees, forces a jump ball. The activity of Wake Forest defensively, that time Jordan, very impressive.
Right, they're collapsing a little bit on these drives. They're sort of daring NC State to kick out and shoot some threes. But right now NC State shot fake and drive, and ended up just going into traffic.
So Katie Diebel, the Australian product, brings it up the court. This is a Wake team that's won 2 of its last 3 after starting 0-14. Williams' turn. Wake nearly had the lead right there.
All right, that's her shot right there, just rimmed out.
Good shot fake. Hayes again. That's off, and NC State shooting 35% tonight. Jordan's been feeling herself in this second half. She now has an ACC high of 12 for the freshman.
Yeah, they've switched Madison Hayes on Jordan to try and prevent any more threes.
State's best defender. Williams on the mismatch. Missed the jumper. Cole's the board. Wake for the lead. Has it.
There's about 75 Wake fans in this building, and that's the only noise you're hearing right now. Huge bucket for the Deeks.
They told you the triples were huge. 8 threes for Wake Forest. So James in her bag. ISO ball. Can't hit. Remember, NC State with a win earns the number 2 seed. With a loss, they drop to the 4. And Diebel gets contact. That time no good.
Here's where championship teams have to step up. NC State needs a bucket. Who are they going to go to? It's going to start with Rivers.
Sanaya 1v1. Blows by Jordan. And a nice bucket. Good response from the captain.
Right, and that's the leadership you're looking for. She took her time. She got the hesitation dribble. With the spread out offense, she got all the way to the rack.
Wake Forest scored 16 in the first half. The offense has exploded here in the second. Williams off the pick. Wake's been living on these mismatches.
Jordan couldn't get the look there. Hayes was on her too much.
Williams calls her number and is short. Wow, every shot in the second half looks good for Williams. She has 17. Brooks on this end. And the extra pass a bit heavy. That'll stay here.
All right, looks like they got a tip there on that pass across.
I thought Collins may have touched that last, but the refs say NC State ball.
Yeah, and they can't review it until the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, so it's just on what the refs see.
Our crew led by Tom Donaher today.
NC State going back to the big lineup with Baldwin.
So Alex Scruggs returns for Wake. That's a huge size mismatch. James. You're right. Wake's collapsing everything defensively. There's 3 defenders on Brooks, who heads to the free throw line.
Well, even if you just look right at the end picture there, there's 4 Wake jerseys right by the basket, and all of NC State's on the perimeter.
Does that make you think about the three-point more after this replay?
Yeah, let's take a look here now. Zoe with the drive, and Diebel, excuse me, could not keep her in front. They're going to get 2 free throws, but I really think you got to trust your three-point shooting, that Collins, Hayes, James, when these drivers go in, spot up and be ready for a quick shot.
This is one area NC State has excelled. 75% in free throw shooting. And in the last 5 minutes of games, when the game's 10 or less, Brooks is at 80% from the line. Really good in close moments.
Very impressive for a freshman, too. Here you got to imagine Wake's going to go ball screen with Williams.
Williams, a lot of space. She scored 2 in the first half. Now has 17. And Scruggs gets tripped. A timeout, Megan Jebby. That's a smart call.
Very smart call. At this point in the game, the possessions are so valuable.
We'll take this timeout. 6 minutes to go here in Raleigh. Wake Forest hanging around in a tight 2-point game.
I think so. I think she
Elise Williams, 15 points in the second half. And Derek, she's bringing Wake back to life.
She really is. You see here in all of these opportunities, she's got River Baldwin's man is setting her a ball screen. She's attacking. She's getting to the glass right here, sort of a step back hesitation. But she has been in her back. She's been getting any shot she wants right now. And NC State's going to have to figure out a way to pressure her coming off of those ball screens, or just count on their defender to fight through those screens to not give her those looks.
Wake trailed by 16 in the second half. Williams has single-handedly brought Wake Forest back. 17 points. Now dishing it to Scruggs in a traffic no. NC State off an overtime win Thursday. They're grinding here tonight. What a time by Brooks. And then Collins blocked with a foul. And right Scruggs got her at the very end.
Yeah, great pass by Brooks. If Collins could have just caught it a little more cleanly, I think she could go up before the defense got there. But she does get the foul on Scruggs.
Those are free throws 15 and 16 for NC State. The winner of this game, 7th in the conference at 75%. What a really good free throw shooting league. No league better than the ACC.
Right. Very confident there by Mimi.
As a conference, 70% overall. Late in these games, it'll matter, especially in a tight one right here.
Right, and that's something that's going to pay off when these teams go into NCAA tournament time.
Back to a 4-point difference as we near the 6-minute mark. Wake has not won in this building since 2017. Jordan deep. That's a bit off. And Baldwin elects to save it.
Mimi Collins on Jordan there, just a little bit taller defender. She had to go a little higher on that shot.
This is a 6-0 Wolfpack run in the last 2 minutes. Great position. Baldwin through the trees. No.
Great set there by NC State. Just couldn't get the finish.
The undersized Wake Forest Demon Deacons, only -3 on the glass. That's a win if you're Megan Jebbia. Her clubs won back-to-back road games in the conference. Harrison crossover. Good hands by Brooks, who's diving on the court. Harrison here with 8 in a double team. Again, it's Brooks active. Jordan with 4. Tough look, no. And then Brooks saves it. Great hands by the freshman. James to the bucket. The runner is good.
Really good body control there by James.
Isaiah James with 7. And Wake Forest using a timeout.
Give a lot of credit to Zoe Brooks right there, playing hard defense. She was an unsung hero in that Syracuse game on Thursday night. You saw it again right there.
We'll take the timeout here in the 4th. Zoe Brooks making her case for a great defensive play leading to a bucket for NC State, who last year had Sanaya Rivers win 6th Player of the Year. Brooks is earning her case today. And Williams into traffic. That shot was tipped. Here comes the freshman. What a pass to James. Are you kidding me?
What a play by the Wolfpack. The pass ahead. And then James with a reverse flip. Let's take a look at it.
Phillip Rivers-esque here at NC State.
What a pass. And this finish is underrated there. A reverse layup with the foul. The crowd loved it. Huge, huge basket for the Wolfpack.
Okay, get your 6th Player of the Year votes out for Zoe Brooks.
All the voters that haven't turned it in, if they're tuned in right now, they can see what an impact she's had for the Pack this season.
NC State's won the award 4 times in its history, maybe a chance at 5. So Williams is called for an offensive foul. River Baldwin drawing the charge for the 25th time in her career.
She is so good at drawing charges that NC State has started tracking offensive fouls drawn this year in their notes. That's her 25th. Really impressive for a big 5, a big post player.
What has fueled this 11-0 run for NC State?
Well, the transition a couple of times. It's the defense on one end with Zoe Brooks, and then the transition. James getting out ahead.
That's an illegal hand check on Collins.
Yeah, maybe the little foul. Yeah, maybe the little screen there. Tough play there for the Pack, because you could just feel the momentum that one more basket could be the nail. But Wake Forest
shooting 0 of its last 6. A 3.5-minute drought here in Raleigh. Oh, Rivers nearly had it. Williams the extra pass and a steal.
Good hands by the Pack. They're going to go in transition.
Brooks swings it. Collins short. Scruggs the board.
The collective moan from the crowd. That was a big shot, big miss.
Williams sitting on 17, but yet to score in this 4th quarter. Who can help out Elise? Conley tries it. Diebel. Good crossover. Diebel challenged and hits. Stops a 4-minute drought.
Mostly known as the 3-point shooter. She had a nice shot fake and drive and no help. Brooks could not get the block shot. Actually,
big bucket for Diebel today.
Probably NC State a little lucky they didn't call a 3-point play there.
Rivers on the switch with Williams. Baldwin the extra pass. Collins finally knocks one in.
That senior to senior connection once again, and the crowd rises.
NC State +9 in this 4th quarter. Searching for the number 2 seed in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Here's Scruggs. Daring her to shoot. Baldwin active hands. Here's Sanaya Rivers to the buckets. Could be the cherry on top for NC State.
Yeah, and she just salutes the crowd. A huge bucket puts NC State up 12. The defense has really come to play in this fourth quarter.
Holding Wake to 5 points in the fourth. Williams into 2. That's a block. Only 2 fouls here for NC State. And how about Sanaya Rivers taking over?
Yeah, she's just known for this. The long arm of the law, they like to say on the radio broadcast. She takes it all the way for the layup. I thought she might even go for a dunk there, but...
And you can tell this team wants to pull off that number 2 seed. There's some energy here in Reynolds today.
Yeah, and just listening to them on Thursday night in the huddle, I heard with 2 minutes to go, this is for the second seed. This is for second place. They know it's on the line and they want it.
In the words of Will Ferrell from Flint Tropics, we don't want 4th place, we want 2nd place.
That's right.
And that double bye in the tournament. Wake's tournament position is locked in. They'll play Wednesday night at 6:30 as the 14 seed. And then Williams is short. What a second half. Maybe not enough for Williams today.
Now for the first time, NC State's going to just slow the pace a little. Try and just bleed this clock.
A 16-2 run for Wes Moore's club, who was picked 8th in the preseason. They'll pull off the number 2 seed with a win today. Rivers into 2. Collins so huge in this fourth and add another 3 for the senior.
Everybody on the bench and on the floor just knew that was going in. 15-point lead for the Pack as the seniors shine.
Down low, Conley, nice response, and Wake snaps an 8-0 run.
That's a great little set right there by Wake.
Now Wake running a bit of a press. The Wolfpack 4 in double figures today. They're one of 10 teams in the country that have 5 or more averaging 10. They're flexing their muscle today.
They really are. You see why they're so dangerous going into March is that anyone can step up and hit the big shots.
Reynolds encouraging this group. What a time by Brooks, and Rivers hits a 3. It's raining triples in Raleigh. Scruggs on this end, tightly contested and a foul on Rivers.
Well, I tell you what, NC State's offense has just caught on fire. You're seeing the drive and dish. You're seeing the confidence. And here, let's take a look at Brooks with the kick out. Rivers hitting the huge 3 in the fourth quarter, just like she did last Thursday.
She has 4 assists today. That's her best pass.
Yeah, that
Actually,
was
sorry, her baseball pass was her best pass. That's her
true.
second best pass.
Well, and as you keep mentioning, 6th player of the year, you're seeing why. She makes such a difference. Her coming out party was that UConn game, the second game of the season.
Oh, hold on a second here. Oh, if Wake Forest missed this next free throw, free Chick-fil-A for everyone in the building.
Yes, this is definitely a crowd favorite.
Alex Scruggs for chicken nuggets. Oh, clutch.
Only thing that's gone wrong so far for the Pack fans in this fourth quarter.
That snaps a 22-3 run and makes a lot of hungry campers leaving the building. Brooks with her 5th assist. Oh, hold on, Baldwin missed it.
Baldwin got caught right in the front of the rim. Couldn't get the right angle.
NC State plus 15 in the quarter. Jordan, that one rattles out. Good look for Wake. Kaya Harrison, great hands. The 5th-year senior playing in her 143rd career game. Blows into James and good hands defensively.
Nice defense there by James.
I love the effort of Kaya Harrison, right? This is a team that's 2-15, not a lot to play for, and Harrison's putting her body on the line.
Right, and they've been playing hard, and I mean, this is a game that they could have just not showed up for, especially after going down 23-7. Let's take a look at Mimi Collins here, the senior, getting a huge ovation from the crowd, hugs from the assistant coaches.
Had a big second half as well. Double figures, and then Sanaya Rivers doing it again with an open court foul for Williams.
They called the touch foul on the breakaway there. 46 seconds left, and see if Coach Moore tries to get River Baldwin out of there for another ovation as well.
I was going to say with Senior Day, a chance to sub out his next 2 seniors.
Yeah, particularly, we know Madison was honored today with her 4th year, her senior. She's getting her degree. She'll be coming back. River Baldwin, she's been around for Wolfpack fans. If you remember the start of the ACC run of 3 straight ACC tournaments, she played for Florida State in that championship game, guarding Elisa Cunane, and now it's come full circle all the way back to being with the Wolfpack.
Well, you just mentioned it. Lizzie Williamson will sub in for Baldwin after this next free throw. And Rivers missed it. Hayes the board. This exemplifies Madison Hayes. A ton of effort, and the jump ball keeps possession. And how about the impact here, River Baldwin, this year for NC State?
Oh, it's been tremendous. We're going to take a listen to this crowd real quick.
Her final home game in the regular season here for NC State.
They are so appreciative, and she has stepped up so much. I think she found her home at Florida State. She couldn't find her role, and she came here, and it's really a huge reason why NC State's going to finish second in the ACC.
That's a 5-second violation and a Wolfpack turnover. This club now is the #2 seed in the conference. What's their ceiling? How far can they go in that ACC tournament?
Oh, I think they can win it all. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about our favorites. I think it's hard not to pick against Virginia Tech, but NC State, they've got so many different weapons that they don't need. And here we'll take a look at Madison Hayes. So proud of her and her time here at NC State. She'll be back, but still getting honored as a senior.
All three seniors off the court for the Wolfpack, who are pulled ahead in this fourth.
But quickly back to the tournament. NC State can beat anyone.
Williams ends her night on 17 points. And then a foul here on Wake.
And I'll tell you, I've seen the way Wake has played. They just beat Pitt. They just beat Georgia Tech, who may be their first round opponent. It may be Virginia. But there's no reason that they can't go to Greensboro and get a win and really give somebody some fits. Last year they beat the #5 seed Florida State. And I think they've got a shot to make another run. This team is playing much better than their record would indicate.
It's been 3 straight years a 13 seed or higher has won 2 games. So there's definitely some elements here for Wake as Aaliyah McWhorter comes in, the Cincinnati, Ohio product.
Right, when you've got Elise Williams handling and distributing and dishing, she can win a game by herself in Greensboro.
Isaiah James on the Wolfpack. She's got 10, one of 4 in double figures for the pack today. NC State will open as the 2 seed, and their tournament begins with a double bye. So they'll open up Friday night at 5 o'clock. Virginia Tech, the reigning champions, look for back-to-back titles. And remember, State's won 3 of the previous 4 championships.
And the seeds are such a jumble because everybody's so close, but they could be looking at a Florida State or a UNC in that quarterfinal, which is going to be a tough game.
So Diebel on the drive. That freshman able to finish. Nice bucket for Diebel.
You know, Florida State lost here in overtime back in January, a game that you called. And then UNC, of course, NC State split. So there are no easy games when you get to Greensboro.
And a late foul on Kaya Harrison. NC State wanting to secure that top 4 national seed come Selection Sunday. This is a prime performance, 25-win regular season. And a good way to end the year if you're Westmore.
Right, and NC State with 7 AP Top 25 wins this year. That's tied for most in the country. They were 11 on the most recent committee reveal. I think they can, which is a 3 seed. I think they can work their way back into that 2 with just at least get 1 win in Greensboro, maybe 2, and depending on the way the rest of the country comes out. And so the advantage to playing in this building, sold out, first 2 rounds, is huge.
Last chance here for Wake Forest, who will gear up for a 14 seed matchup on Wednesday night. There's a kickball. Lacey Steele, the defensive effort, and that's been the story for NC State here on Senior Day. A 25-win regular season. A great defensive effort in that second half, and the Wolfpack moved to 13-5 in the ACC.
Well, coming into the game, we thought, what do these teams want to accomplish? I think Wake Forest got the confidence and momentum they want. They can win some big games. NC State got that 2 seed, and I feel like the sky's the limit for them, not only in Greensboro, but in the NCAA tournament coming up later this month.
NC State picked 8th in the preseason, finished #2 overall behind Virginia Tech. And Wake Forest, a valiant effort. They had a lead in the 4th quarter as they gear up for Wednesday's opening round action. For all of us here in Raleigh, happy Senior Day for both of these programs. And thanks for joining us all here on ACC Network Extra. It's been a pleasure. Fun performance. Elise Williams battling bucket for bucket with a balanced NC State team. 4 in double figures. For Derek Jordan, our talented crew led by Lucas Raycraft, I'm EvanBudrovich. Are you guys ready or what? The ACC tournament begins Wednesday. It's wide open, and 2 good programs grinding it out today. Number 12 NC State holds home court, taking down Wake Forest on the final day of the regular season.